Hi, I'm Gary White for Central Kentucky Television. I'm here for the Meet the Candidates segment here on Central Kentucky Television. I have with me Dudley friend Adle Jr., who is running for the 3rd District here in Marion County. He'll be on the May ballot for the primaries. And this segment of Meet the Candidates here in Marion County is being sponsored in part by the Marion County Chamber of Commerce. So, Mr. Adle, let's start off. Can you tell us a little about yourself? If those out there aren't familiar with you, tell them your biography and a little bit about yourself for us.
Okay. I worked for the Department of Defense most all my life, my working life, that is. And then I took then when I retired from the Defense Department, I went to work as a real estate appraiser for 15 years. I was state certified, so that's the higher level appraiser than just a normal house appraiser. And I enjoyed that real well until the housing market actually collapsed in Michigan. And there was no point in appraising anything because they owed more than it was worth. I mean, I was just wasting their time and my time.
Mm-hmm.
So I decided I got to retire again. So my son-in-law, he lived in Florida and he wanted to come back to Kentucky. He says, Dudley says, you got to go to Kentucky. So I've traveled all over the United States looking at places I might want to live, and I came down to Kentucky and I liked it. I liked the rolling hills. I liked everything about Kentucky. I liked it. And the fact is I can build a house in Marion County and I can get city water or county water. I can get electricity, I can get telephone. I can get all the utilities, and yet I'm still out there in the country. So I got 32 acres and I'm just enjoying it.
Now, he said this is for District 3.
District 3, right?
Now, what parts of Marion County does that encompass?
Well, if you're coming from Campbellsville towards Marion County, it starts right at the border on Route 55, and it goes all the way into Lebanon, comes down to the Depot Street, cuts over to the hospital, and then circles past the hospital and goes out of town, and then heads back towards Raywick. It doesn't want to include the old Marion County Correction Facility. Okay. But it kind of cuts around and then jogs down and gets into pretty close to Loretto. Goes all the way to the county line, then cuts back down and follows the county line all the way back around to where we first started and coming from Campbellsville. Okay. It's a big area. It's a large area, a lot of people out there.
Now, what made you decide to run for magistrate?
Well, I wanted to run for magistrate because I've always wanted to be involved with the county government. Ever since I've been here, I want to become involved with it. And I think that being a magistrate is going to give me that opportunity to do that. When I first got here, I was looking around a way to serve the county. And I noticed that the constable position was vacant. It had been vacant for over 20 years. And I said to myself, well, you know, why didn't somebody take that position? Is it because it's hard or they're too busy or what? I don't know. So I said, well, I'll take that position. That's not really my expertise, but I'll take that position. So I talked to the county clerk and Karen Spaulding, and she said, is there any way I can run for that position? She said, well, sure, Dudley. I'll push you in the special election during the presidential election. That's not the county election normally, but I'll put you in there so you can run. Well, I got 865 votes out of possible 1,000, so I did pretty well. And I was all set to enjoy myself as constable. I didn't know what I was going to do, but I was going to do it. And the fiscal court says, well, no, wait a minute, Dudley. We hadn't had a constable for 20-some years, and we think that we should put a bond requirement on you of $2 million. Well, even if I had $2 million, that's telling me that they don't want me to serve in that position. And I'm not here to argue with Marion County. I was here to help them. So I decided, well, I better back off on that and just not pursue that anymore. So I let that ride, and the normal election started coming up. I said, you know, I should run for magistrate. Magistrate's more in my field of work. I looked up all the qualifications for a magistrate. And the magistrate does more than just appropriate funds. People all know they appropriate funds. But you know, the magistrate, the fiscal court approves all, they can buy and sell real estate. Well, I was a real estate appraiser and a realtor for 15 years. That's right up my line. The fiscal court can cause the inspection or investigation of any activity within the county. Well, I was on the Inspector General's team, and I've worked about 3.5 years as in property accounting. I feel I can just about evaluate anybody's activity. I know what all the records look like. I know how they should look right, and I don't see any problem there. I noticed the fiscal court also could cause the construction of buildings, improvement of grounds. Well, I was a facility engineer for 3.5 years. I felt, well, I can look at plans. I develop plans. I can handle that. The fiscal court is responsible for the incarceration of prisoners. Well, then again, I ran for the constable. I felt at least I had a desire in that area, so maybe I could learn more about that. I decided, well, you know, it takes more than just being qualified to be the magistrate. You know, you've got to be highly dedicated. And I felt that, hey, I would be highly dedicated. This is the only job I'd be doing. Frankfurt considers the magistrate job as a part-time job. I didn't look at they pay it as a part-time job. I don't know what the pay is, but they pay it as a part-time job. I didn't look at it as a part-time job. To me, it's a full-time job. I'd want to get on all the committees that I could possibly get on. I'd want to gather all the information I could possibly gather, because making good decisions is having good information. I would like to take and investigate any of these activities that may be improvements. I've been to Frankfurt. I've been to Demi Higgins and Terry Mills. I've gotten Frankfurt to send me emails of everything goes on in the congressional matters. They're very interesting. Not that I'm going to be a congressman, but I want to know what they're trying to accomplish there, because I don't want to be doing something that's kind of against that. Any decision that the magistrate makes has a direct impact on the county residents. And I think those decisions got to be legal, and they got to be responsible. And I think that I have all the qualifications for doing all that.
What do you see as some of the challenges facing Marion County right now?
Well, Marion County is constantly going to have to figure out ways to better their budget. I mean, you can't keep spending. The state keeps cutting back, so these government activities, they got to keep shrinking and trying to figure out ways to do better. The jail has experienced it. The soil conservation group has experienced it. Education has experienced it. They just can't keep saying to the fiscal court, I need more money, because the fiscal court ain't got no more money. They all got to sit down and figure out how they best can shrink their budgets. I know that's hard to do. Let's work with the government to come back and they'd say, we got to take a 10% cut, or you got to take a 20% cut. I don't care where you do it, Dudley, but you're going to have to do it. Well, you just got to do it, that's all. It hurts people, and you want to do the best for them. But if you can figure out a way to make things done a little more responsible, maybe you can save jobs and things like that.
Do you see any particular areas where the budget can be minimized currently?
No, because I haven't got with all these department heads, and I haven't really got into it. I did read reports on the jails of around the different parts of Kentucky, and some of them are run pretty poorly. But what I could tell about this jail, they've done pretty well. So, and he's trying to do a good job making things work. So, but I would have to get into all those department heads, and I'd want to do that anyway, just to make sure I understand what they're trying to accomplish. So,
now, what would you say are some of the positives about the county that you see right now?
Oh, I just love this county. Yeah, I love everything about it. All the people I meet and the things they're accomplishing. I like the way the roads and grounds are being taken care of. The parks. The people have a good spirit here, a good attitude. They all smile. They all wave at you. I mean, you go down the street and they're going to wave at you. I mean, that's a good sign. In Michigan, nobody waves at you. You can be living next door and they don't know your name. But here, they all name your name. Is a funeral, they all go to the funeral. It can be 15, 20 miles away. They're going to that funeral because they know those people. Or if they don't know them, they at least feel bad about it. And
for the magistrate, it is a 4-year position. So if elected, what would you like to see accomplished within that 4-year period that you would be a magistrate?
Well, that's hard to say. I would like to at least actually get involved with everybody and see how they're going to, what their needs are, and try to accomplish that. I don't know that our president magistrate is doing a bad job. I go to the meetings, I see him in there, he seems to be doing a good job. I go out and talk to people in the community and they say, well, he's done this and he's done that, and we like him. So some people don't like him, but a lot of people do like him. He gets on, he gets in there and helps people. I don't know that he's not doing a bad job. All I know is that I would like to do the job. He's been there a while, and I'd like it to be my turn. If the people in Marion County feel that they'd like to keep him, well then I'd be happy too, because I've seen nothing wrong with him. I would just like to do the job myself.
So for my final question then, how, for the voters out there who are trying to make a decision, what would you like them to know about you that would make you the most qualified or best person for this position for the next 4 years?
Well, I think I have a good personality. I like people. I like talking to people. I don't know if my predecessors do that, because a lot of people say they don't know him. So maybe they're just not getting out and talking to him. Even though he's doing a lot of things, maybe he's not talking to them. And I love talking with people. And I would like to try to help the people. And even if we got a shrinking budget, there's ways to help people in a shrinking budget, you know. So.
Well, thank you very much for coming and talking with me.
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate this opportunity.
All right. Again, I'm talking with Dudley friend Adle Jr., who is running for magistrate in District 3 in Marion County. This is the Meet the Candidate segments here on Central Kentucky Television, brought to you in part by the Marion County Chamber of Commerce. It's been Gary White.